Takeshi wandered the countryside, a shadow of his former self. His once bright armor was dull, a reflection of his spirit. He had failed his lord, failed his family. Only the wind answered his tormented cries. His shame was a heavy burden. It clung to him like smoke from a dying fire. He was a samurai without honor, a warrior without purpose. Each sunrise brought fresh pain, a reminder of his disgrace. He sought solace in solitude, in the whisper of leaves and the cold comfort of the earth. Yet he could not outrun his past. It haunted his dreams, a constant echo of his failure. He yearned for redemption, but saw no path back to grace. Ayumi knelt in the dirt, tears staining her face. Her village, once vibrant with life, was now a graveyard. The air hung heavy with the stench of death, a chilling testament to the massacre. Her family was gone, victims of senseless brutality. She clutched a small blood-stained doll, a final gift from her mother. It was a symbol of her loss, a constant reminder of the vengeance she swore. She would find the murderers, she would make them pay. Her eyes, though filled with grief, held a spark of steely determination. She would not rest until justice was served. She would travel to the ends of the earth, even if it meant facing demons themselves. Her resolve was unbreakable, fueled by a rage that burned hotter than any inferno. Their paths crossed at a desolate crossroads. Ayumi, small but resolute, stood before the towering figure of Takeshi. She saw past his shame, sensed the warrior beneath the surface. He was her only hope. "Help me," she pleaded, her voice hoarse with grief. "Help me avenge my family." She held out the doll, a silent testament to her loss. Takeshi saw in her eyes a reflection of his own pain. He hesitated, the weight of his past holding him back. Could he, a man drowning in his own failures, offer her any salvation? The request, echoing his own desire for redemption, stirred something within him, a flicker of purpose, a chance to atone. Takeshi agreed to train Ayumi, to hone her rage into a weapon. He taught her the way of the sword, the art of combat. She was a quick learner, her movements fluid, her strikes precise. Beneath the harsh training regime, a bond formed. They were two souls, broken and lost, finding solace in their shared pain. He saw in her the strength he had forgotten, the unwavering spirit of a true warrior. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. Their quest for justice consumed them, pushing them forward. They traveled across the land, following whispers and rumors, each step taking them closer to the truth. But the path was fraught with danger, their enemies lurking in the shadows. Section 5. Shadows of Deception. Their journey led them to the doorstep of a powerful lord, a man rumored to be corrupt and ruthless. The mansion stood tall and imposing, its grandeur a stark contrast to the dark secrets it harbored within. The samurai with their keen senses could almost feel the weight of the treachery that lay ahead. He welcomed them with a disarming smile, but Takeshi saw the glint of steel behind his eyes. The lord's demeanor was polished, his words smooth, but there was an underlying tension that betrayed his true nature. Takeshi's instincts screamed caution, knowing that a single misstep could lead to their downfall. They were walking into a viper's nest. The air was thick with danger, every shadow seemed to hide a potential threat. The samurai had to tread carefully, for the path ahead was fraught with peril. Each step they took was a step deeper into the unknown, where allies could turn into enemies in the blink of an eye. As they delved deeper into their investigation, they uncovered a web of deceit that stretched far beyond a simple act of banditry. Hidden documents revealed conspiracies that implicated not just the lord but other powerful figures in the region. The samurai realized that they were up against a formidable network of corruption. Powerful figures were involved, their hands stained with the blood of innocents. The more they uncovered, the more dangerous their mission became. The stakes were no longer just about justice. It was about survival. The samurai had to navigate a treacherous landscape where one wrong move could mean their end. The stakes were higher than they had ever imagined. Every revelation brought with it a new layer of complexity, and the samurai had to stay one step ahead of their adversaries. Their resolve was tested, and their loyalty to each other became their greatest strength. Betrayal lurked around every corner. Trust was a rare commodity, and the samurai had to be vigilant. Every interaction was a potential trap, and they had to rely on their instincts to navigate the treacherous waters. The sense of impending danger was ever present, and they knew that they could trust no one but themselves. Allies proved false, their promises as empty as the graves of Ayumi's family. The samurai were reminded of the personal stakes involved, and their mission took on a deeper, more personal meaning. They were not just fighting for justice, they were fighting for the memory of those they had lost. They were forced to rely on their instincts, their swords their only constant companions. In a world where deception was the norm, their blades were the only things they could trust. The samurai moved with a purpose, their every action calculated, their every decision weighed against the potential consequences. The line between justice and revenge blurred, their hearts hardening with each passing day. The samurai grappled with their own inner demons, questioning their motives and the cost of their quest. In the end, they knew that the path they had chosen was fraught with peril, but it was a path they were determined to see through to the end. Section 6. The Price of Blood. In the annals of history there are tales that echo through time, stories of valor, sacrifice, and the heavy toll of vengeance. This is one such tale. They finally confronted the man responsible for the massacre, a ruthless warlord driven by greed and ambition. His eyes gleamed with a cold, calculating malice, a stark contrast to the fiery determination in the eyes of the samurai who stood before him. The clash was brutal, a whirlwind of steel and fury. Swords clashed, the sound of metal ringing through the air, each strike a testament to their unwavering resolve. Takeshi fought with the desperation of a man seeking atonement, his every move fueled by a deep-seated need to right the wrongs of his past. His body bore the scars of countless battles, each one a reminder of the lives lost and the blood spilled, while Ayumi moved with the cold precision of a seasoned warrior. Her movements were fluid, almost graceful, each strike delivered with deadly accuracy. She was a force to be reckoned with, her resolve unshakable. Victory came at a price. The battlefield was littered with the fallen, the air heavy with the scent of blood and the cries of the wounded. The cost of their triumph was etched into the very ground they stood upon. Takeshi lay wounded, his lifeblood staining the ground crimson. His breaths were shallow, each one a struggle, but his spirit remained unbroken. He had fought for honor, for justice, and for the memory of those he had lost. Ayumi stood over the warlord, her hand trembling on the hilt of her sword. The weight of her decision bore down on her, the culmination of her journey leading to this pivotal moment. The moment of truth had arrived. The warlord lay at her feet, defeated and at her mercy. The power to end his life was hers, but with it came the burden of choice. Could she take a life, even in the name of vengeance? The question gnawed at her, a battle waging within her heart. She had trained for this moment, but the reality of it was far more complex than she had ever imagined. As she looked down at her fallen enemy, a flicker of doubt crossed her face. The warlord's eyes, once filled with arrogance, now held a glimmer of fear. In that moment she saw not just a tyrant but a man. The cycle of violence, the endless thirst for revenge, threatened to consume her. She had seen it claim the lives of many, turning noble warriors into mere shadows of their former selves. Was this the justice she craved? The line between right and wrong blurred, leaving her to question the very nature of her quest. Was vengeance truly the answer, or was there another path? Was this the path to peace? The weight of her sword grew heavier, the choice before her more daunting. In the silence that followed, she sought the wisdom to make the right decision, one that would honor the fallen, and pave the way for a future free of bloodshed. Section 7. Betrayal's Sting. Before Ayumi could act, a figure emerged from the shadows. It was someone they had trusted, someone who had sworn to help them. But their words had been a mask, their loyalty a lie. Betrayal cut deeper than any blade. The traitor revealed their true motives, power, greed, and a ruthless ambition that mirrored the man Ayumi had just defeated. They had been used, manipulated into serving another's agenda. The revelation sent a shockwave through Ayumi, shaking her to her core. The world spun, the line between right and wrong dissolving into a maelstrom of confusion and anger. Everything they had fought for, everything they had endured, seemed meaningless. They had been pawns in a game played by those who wielded power without conscience. Section 8. The Weight of Honor. Takeshi, though wounded, managed to deflect the traitor's attack, giving Ayumi time to escape. His body ached with the pain of his injuries, but his spirit remained unbroken. He had made a promise to protect her, and he intended to keep it no matter the cost. He knew he might not survive the encounter, but he would not let her become another victim of this senseless cycle of violence. Takeshi's mind raced with memories of his past battles, each one a testament to his strength and resolve. Yet this fight felt different. It was not just about honor or duty, it was about love and sacrifice. As he fought, he realized that true honor lay not in vengeance, but in protecting the innocent, even at the cost of his own life. The battlefield was a chaotic blur of clashing swords and desperate cries, but Takeshi's focus never wavered. He fought with a clarity of purpose that transcended the chaos around him. He had found redemption, not in erasing his past, but in embracing the present and fighting for a better future. Each strike of his sword was a step towards that future, a future where Ayumi could live free from fear. Takeshi's thoughts drifted to the people he had lost, and he vowed that their sacrifices would not be in vain. Ayumi, carrying the weight of Takeshi's sacrifice and her own shattered illusions, fled into the night. Her heart was heavy with grief but also filled with a newfound determination. She knew that Takeshi's sacrifice had given her a chance to change her fate, and she would not squander it. The path ahead was uncertain, but one thing was clear: she would forge her own destiny, guided by the lessons learned and the memory of those she had lost. Each step she took was a tribute to Takeshi's bravery, and the love that had given her the strength to move forward. She would honor his memory by living a life of purpose and integrity. She would find her own justice, her own peace. As the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, Ayumi felt a sense of calm wash over her. She knew that the journey ahead would be fraught with challenges, but she was ready to face them. With Takeshi's spirit as her guide, she would carve out a new path, one that honored the past while embracing the promise of the future.